The morning sunlight poured through my bedroom window, golden and warm, like it wanted to bless this day, my wedding day. I had been dreaming of this moment for years, walking down the aisle, seeing my fiancé's eyes soften with love, feeling the weight of every sacrifice finally pay off. Today was supposed to be perfect, at least. That's what I thought. I padded across the room, bare feet cold against the hardwood floor, my heart pounding with excitement. My dress was waiting for me. The dress I had chosen months ago, the one I had saved for, dreamed about, cried over when I first slipped it on in the boutique mirror. It wasn't just fabric and lace, it was a symbol. Home, my symbol. Proof that for once in my life, I would be the center of attention. But when I opened my closet door, my smile froze. The hanger was empty. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. Surely I was just nervous, missing the obvious. But I checked again. The white gown, the veil, the delicate beading that had taken seamstresses weeks to stitch it was gone. "Mom!" I called, my voice cracking. "Mom, where's my dress?" Her footsteps echoed down the hallway, slow, deliberate. She appeared. In the doorway, her lips already curling into a smirk. "Oh, that?" She tilted her head, eyes glinting with amusement. "It seems your sister needed it." My throat tightened. Needed it? What do you mean, needed it? "That's my wedding dress?" Before she could answer, a voice drifted from the staircase. Sweet sing-song laced with poison. "Do you like it, sis?" I spun around, and there she was. My sister stood at the top of the stairs, radiant in my gown. The satin hugged her figure. The lace shimmered under the morning light. The veil cascaded down her back. She twirled slowly, laughing. "Fits like a glove," she teased, almost as if it were made for me. My knees nearly buckled. "Take it off," I whispered, my chest heaving. "That's mine." Why not?" she interrupted, descending the stairs with a practiced grace. "You've always wanted everything, haven't you? The attention, the spotlight, the love. But let's be real, Lou, we're never the star. You never looked the part, and this dress was wasted on you." Her words sliced through me like glass. I turned back to my mom, desperate. "You're letting her do this? This is my wedding day." But my mother's smile was cruel. "Oh, honey, don't be so dramatic. She looks beautiful in it, doesn't? She'll represent the family better. We'll figure something else out." My chest caved. My hands trembled. My vision blurred with tears. I wanted to scream, to claw the gown off her body, to demand what was rightfully mine. But I froze, rooted to the floor as the weight of years pressed down on me. Years of being pushed aside. Years of being told I wasn't good enough, not pretty enough, not important enough. And now, on the most important day of my life, they had done it again. "Don't cry," my sister taunted, brushing past me. The perfume from her veil stung. "My nose. It's embarrassing. You don't want puffy eyes at your own wedding, if you even get to have one." She disappeared into the living room, humming a cheerful tune as if she hadn't just gutted me alive. I stood there, shaking, my breath shallow. This was supposed to be my fairy tale. Instead, it had become my nightmare. But somewhere beneath the heartbreak, a spark flickered. If she wanted my dress, fine, let her have it, 'cause she had no idea what I was planning to wear instead. And when I walked into that hall, the day wouldn't belong to her. It would belong to me. People think family is where you're supposed to feel safest. That's where love is unconditional, right? What movies teach you, what storybooks show in their happy endings. But my story was never that kind. For as long as I can remember, my sister has been the chosen one, the golden child, the darling. She didn't earn it. She didn't work for it. She didn't even ask for it half the time. But my parents decided long ago that she would be the one who mattered. And I would be the one who didn't. I remember being 6 years old, tugging at my mother's sleeve in the toy store. "Can I get this doll, please?" Her eyes narrowed, her lips pursed. "That's too expensive. put it back. Minutes later, she bought my sister a dollhouse 3 times the price, 'cause she deserves it. She's been such a good girl. Good girl, she had thrown a tantrum just moments before. That was the first time I realized the rules were different for her. By the time we hit middle school, the favoritism wasn't subtle anymore. When I made honor roll, my dad barely glanced at the certificate. That's expected, nothing special. When my sister got a most improved ribbon after failing half her classes the semester before, my parents threw a dinner party. They called relatives. They bragged about her determination. Meanwhile, my achievements were invisible. It was like I wasn't even in the same family. And every time I tried to shine, she made sure to snuff me out. There was the school play, where I landed the lead role. The day before opening night, my costume went missing. It mysteriously turned up in her closet a week later. I had to perform in something thrown together last minute, looking like a joke on stage. There was my 16th birthday. I begged. For a small party, just a handful of friends, some cake, nothing fancy. That morning, my parents sat me down. "We can't afford it this year," they said with sad faces. But that evening, they threw a surprise party for her. Music, balloons, a custom cake with her name on it. She wasn't even turning 16. I spent the night sitting on the stairs watching her dance with my friends while people sang happy birthday to her. Every memory of my childhood is painted with the same brush. I was the background character in my own life. By the time we were in our 20s, the pattern was so normal that I stopped fighting it. She got the expensive clothes, wore hand-me-downs. She got the compliments. I got the criticism. She got freedom. I got responsibility. When she crashed a car my father had gifted her, they bought her a new one within a month. When my second-hand car broke down, they told me to work harder and save up. It wasn't just unfair, it was humiliating. And yet, through all of it, I kept going, 'cause I had something she didn't. I had grit. Oh, she partied. I studied. While she slept until noon, I worked part-time jobs. While she begged for attention, I built quiet determination. That's how I met him, my fiancé. Kay wasn't dazzled by my sister. He didn't fall for my family's illusions. He saw me. It's the real me, the one who had been buried under years of neglect. I'll never forget the first time I introduced him. To my parents, my sister wore her tightest dress, her highest heels, and clung to his arm like glue. She called him handsome in front of me, giggled at everything he said. My mother winked and whispered, "She's just being playful." But he gently moved away from her, sat next to me, and held my hand in front of everyone. My sister's smile froze. My parents' eyes narrowed. That was the night they realized their golden child couldn't outshine me in everything, and they hated it. So when I announced my engagement, I shouldn't have been surprised by their reaction. "Are you sure?" my mom asked coldly. You don't really seem like the marrying type." My father just sighed. "If anyone deserves a grand wedding, it's your sister. You'll be fine with something simple." My sister smirked. "Don't worry, sis. I'll help you pick a dress that won't embarrass us." I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug crescents into my palms. But I stayed calm. I picked my dress carefully, the dress. It wasn't just a gown. It was a statement. It was proof that, for once, I would have the day I deserved. Or so I thought. Because as my wedding approached, my sister's jealousy turned poisonous. She made little comments every day. "Are you sure white is your color? Don't you think that style is too much for you? Maybe your groom will like my look better." And my parents only fueled her. "She's just excited for you. Don't be so sensitive." Sensitive. That was their favorite word for me. But on my wedding morning, when I opened my closet and saw the empty hanger, I realized this wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was war. She had stolen my childhood, my birthdays, my spotlight. She had stolen the dress that was supposed to mark the happiest day of my life. And the cruelest part, my parents smiled as she twirled in it. They didn't just allow it, they endorsed it. For a moment, standing in that empty room, I felt the weight of all those years pressing down. The forgotten birthdays, the stolen costumes, the parties thrown for her instead of me. The countless moments where I had been erased so she could shine, all led here. But what they didn't know, what she didn't know, was that this time I wasn't the scared little girl on the staircase. I wasn't the one being silenced anymore. This time I was ready. And when I finally walked into that banquet hall, she wouldn't be the one people remembered. I would. I locked my bedroom door after they left, the sound of their laughter echoing down the hall. My mother's voice rang in my ears. "She looks beautiful in it, doesn't she?" My sister's cruel twirl in my gown replayed in my mind like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. I pressed my back to the door and slid down to the floor, fists trembling. My chest ached, not just from the dress, but from years of being shoved aside. How many times had I been humiliated like this? How many times had they stolen what was mine? A part of me wanted to scream, to rip the veil from her head and drag the gown back piece by piece. But another part of me knew it wouldn't matter. They would laugh. They always laughed. I sat there in silence, letting the pain wash over me like a storm. My makeup smeared, my hair a tangled mess. For a few minutes, I allowed myself to grieve, to feel every ounce of betrayal, every stolen moment of my life. But then, something shifted. Through the tears, a strange calm settled over me. A voice inside whispered, "This isn't the end. Not this time." I stood slowly, wiped my cheeks, and stared into the mirror. My reflection was raw, broken, but beneath the ruin, I saw something else steal. If my sister wanted me to look defeated, I would. If she wanted me to appear broken, I would play along. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't screaming. Silence. It's patience. It's letting them think they've won, till you turn the tables. The rest of the morning, I played the role perfectly. When my mom walked past my room, I kept my eyes red and swollen. When my sister strutted into the kitchen, flaunting the gown, I forced a tremble in my voice. "You win," I whispered, looking at the floor. "I'll just wear something else." She laughed, triumphant. "See, you're learning your place." Her smugness burned through me, but I bit my tongue. "Don't pout," she added, sipping her coffee in my veil. "It's for the best. You wouldn't have looked half as good in it anyway." I nodded meekly, and she smirked, satisfied with my submission. They thought they had broken me. Good, in reality, I was planning. Soon as they left the house to head to the venue, I made a call. My hands shook, not from fear this time, but from determination. "Are you still awake?" I whispered when my best friend picked up. On the other end, a laugh. Barely. "What's wrong? Aren't you supposed to be getting ready for your big day?" "My dress is gone." A pause. "What do you mean gone?" "My sister stole it. She's wearing it right now." There was silence, then a sharp intake of breath. "You've got to be kidding me." I wish I were. I clenched my fists. "But I'm not going to let her win. Can you bring the other one?" A grin slipped into her voice. "The one we had altered last month, just in case." "Kiss," I whispered, fire sparking in my chest. "That one." On my way, I hung up, exhaling slowly. Months ago, I had secretly bought another gown. Not as expensive as the first, but elegant, powerful. My sister never knew about it. I had hidden it away, almost forgotten it. But now, it was my secret weapon. By the time I slipped it on, the transformation was complete. The fabric hugged me like armor. The neckline framed my shoulders with strength. The long sleeves glittered, with subtle beadwork catching the light with every movement, where the first gown had been soft and romantic. This one was bold, regal. When I looked into the mirror this time, I didn't see a broken girl. I saw a woman ready for war. I crossed. My arms lifted my chin and whispered to my reflection she wanted to steal my moment. Let her, because I'll take it back tenfold. At the venue, I arrived late, deliberately. The ceremony had already begun. My parents beamed in the front row. My sister stood near the altar, still in my stolen gown, preening under the attention of guests who whispered about how radiant she looked. She glanced over her shoulder as I entered, her eyes glinting with mockery. "Oh, look who finally decided to show up," she sneered. "Couldn't find anything to wear." I smiled softly, ignoring her jab. "Don't worry. Figured something out." She smirked, turning back to the crowd, certain she had one. But the whispers began almost instantly. "Isn't that Ka?" One guest murmured, "Wait, whose dress is that?" Another whispered, "She looks incredible." All eyes started, drifting toward me. I walked slowly, confidently, the train of my gown gliding behind me. Every step echoed with quiet power. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to explain. The room spoke for me. My sister's smile faltered. She turned, her jaw tightening. Her eyes widened when she saw what I was wearing. "No," she hissed under her breath. You can't." I tilted my head, calm. "Funny, that's exactly what you said when you took my gown." Her face flushed red. She looked to my parents for support, but they were frozen mouths, slightly open, unsure how to spin this. The officiant cleared his throat awkwardly. Guests exchanged looks. The tension was electric. And me, I just stood there, arms crossed, a faint smile on my lips. Because this wasn't just about a dress. It was about every stolen birthday, every forgotten celebration, every moment of my life they had erased. And now, standing there in a hall, full of witnesses, I was no longer invisible. This was the breaking point. Not for me. For them. The hall was alive with golden light, chandeliers shimmering like frozen fire above polished tables. Guests clinked glasses, whispered in shock, their gazes bouncing between my sister in my stolen gown and me, the woman who had just entered in hers. Every step I took down that aisle shifted the energy in the room. I could feel it. Heads turned. Whispers grew. Smiles faded into stunned silence. My sister tried to laugh it off. Her voice rang too loud, too desperate. "Oh, come on. She just threw on something random. Don't let her ruin the moment." But her words fell flat. The guests weren't buying it. Their eyes lingered on me, on the gown that radiated power, on the quiet confidence in my stride. I stopped halfway down the aisle, arms crossed. I didn't need to move further. I didn't need to fight for attention. The attention was already mine. My fiancé's eyes found me across the hall. For a moment, the world fell silent. His face softened, his lips parted, and I saw it there. Love, pride, and relief. He knew. He knew I wasn't going to let them crush me. My sister followed his gaze, and when she saw the look on his face, something inside her snapped. "She's trying to steal my spotlight." She shouted suddenly, her voice cracking. "Look at her. She's pathetic. Wearing my old dress." Gasps rippled through the crowd. People exchanged confused glances. Someone whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Wait, isn't she the bride? Why is her sister in her gown?" My mother jumped to her feet, her face stretched into a fake smile. "There's been a misunderstanding," she stammered, raising her hands. "Of course this is all a joke." "Don't pay attention to her." But the crowd was already paying attention too much. A family friend, Mr. Collins, stood from his table, eyes narrowing. "I thought this was her wedding," he said, pointing at me. "Why is your daughter standing at the altar in a gown that isn't hers?" The room buzzed louder. My father's face turned crimson. "Sit down." He barked at Mr. Collins, but the damage was done. I took a slow step forward. "I'll let him speak," I said, my voice calm but carrying through the hall, because for once everyone should hear the truth. Dozens of eyes locked onto me. The room hushed. Even the music faltered. "My dress was stolen this morning," I began. "By my sister," gasps again. People leaned closer, straining to hear. "She took it because she's been taking from me my whole life," I continued, my voice steady. "Birthdays, awards, celebrations. Every time I had a chance to shine. She made sure I was left in the shadows with my parents' blessing." My mother's voice cracked as she forced a laugh. "That's nonsense. She's making this up." I lifted my hand. "Am I?" I gestured toward the gown on my sister. "Look at her. Look at the way she stands in it, as if she's proud to wear something that isn't hers. That gown wasn't bought for her. It wasn't tailored for her. It was mine." All around, whispers turned sharp. Guests glanced between us, their eyes narrowing at the obvious truth, and my sister's face went red. "Shut up, you're just jealous, jealous." I tilted my head, letting out a quiet laugh. "I'm not the one who needed to steal a gown just to feel important on someone else's wedding day." The room erupted in murmurs. Her composure cracked. She dropped the fake smile and snarled, her voice shrill. "You don't deserve him. You don't deserve this wedding. You don't deserve anything." Silence followed her outburst, heavy and suffocating. I stepped closer, locking eyes with her. My voice dropped low, cutting through the silence like a blade. "And yet, here I stand, and all you've managed to do is expose yourself." Her mouth opened, then closed, words failing her. The officiant shifted uncomfortably, glancing at my fiancé. "Shall we proceed?" he asked. But before I could answer, the double doors at the back of the hall swung open. Everyone turned. A small group entered, led by my best friend, the one I had called earlier. She was carrying a sleek black folder. Behind her walked two people in suits, their expressions professional, purposeful. The room fell into stunned silence. "What is this?" my mother snapped, her voice tight. My best friend's eyes found mine. She smiled, then turned to the crowd. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think there's something you all should know." She handed the folder to the officiant. He opened it, scanning the papers inside. His eyes widened. "These," he said slowly, lifting the documents, "are the venue contracts." Whispers surged through the hall. The officiant looked at me, then back at the papers. "The person listed as the primary payer and owner of this event is not the parents. He looked at me again. "It's her." Gasps broke out everywhere. People twisted in their chairs, eyes darting from my parents' stunned faces to mine. I smiled faintly, stepping forward. "Yes, this venue. The catering, the flowers, the staff. I paid for all of it." The crowd exploded in chatter. "You what?" my sister shrieked, her face twisting in rage. My father's jaw dropped. "Impossible. You don't have that kind of money because you never thought I could." I cut him off. My voice rang out, clear and calm. "But while you were busy parading her around, I was working. Studying, building a life you never cared to ask about. And today, in this hall, you're all standing in the result of that life." The guests erupted in applause, cheers rising like thunder. Some stood, some clapped. Others just stared at my family in disgust. I looked back at my sister. Her face was ashen, her lips trembling. She clutched the gown like it could shield her from the truth unraveling around her. "But the dress," she whispered hoarsely. I tilted my head, smirking. "You can keep it. It looks better on me anyway." The hall roared with laughter. My sister's face crumpled. She dropped the bouquet and ran out, tears streaking her cheeks. My parents tried to follow, but the guests blocked them, hurling questions and glares their way. I stood in the center of it all, the chandeliers gleaming above me, the crowd's applause echoing in my ears. For the first time in my life, the spotlight was mine. The applause still thundered around me, but inside everything was strangely quiet. I felt no rush of anger, no chaos in my chest, only calm. For the first time in my life, I wasn't standing in my sister's shadow. I wasn't begging for my parents' approval. I wasn't fighting to be seen. I was simply me. I turned slowly, letting my eyes sweep across the hall. Relatives, friends, business partners, neighbors who had watched me grow up but never knew the truth. Their faces were a mix of shock, respect, and something else, something I'd never seen before, pride. I raised a hand and the noise settled into silence. "I know this isn't how a wedding ceremony usually goes," I said, my voice steady. "But I need to say this, 'cause for years my voice was stolen. And today, I'm taking it back." The hall leaned in. Even the chandeliers seemed to hold their breath. My entire life I was told I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, strong enough, or worthy enough. My sister was the jewel and I was the dust. My parents didn't just allow it, they encouraged it. Every birthday, every holiday, every milestone. Stolen, dismissed, forgotten. The memories pressing heavy on my chest. And this morning when I found my gown missing, when I saw her standing in it, laughing at me, I almost believed it again. I almost believed I was nothing. Gasps, murmurs, whispers rippled through the guests. My mother's face was rigid, her painted smile cracking. My father clenched his fists under the table. But then I remembered something. I continued, my tone sharper now. I remembered that every insult, every slight, every humiliation built me into someone they couldn't control anymore. While she was busy stealing from me, I was building. While they ignored me, I was learning. While they tried to bury me, I was growing roots they couldn't see. So the crowd erupted into claps again, the sound like waves crashing against stone. I lifted my hand again. I didn't buy this venue to humiliate them. I bought it because I knew one day I'd need a place to stand tall. And what better day than today? My eyes locked on my parents. You could have chosen differently. You could have lifted us both. You could have been proud of both your daughters. Instead, you chose one. And tonight, you've lost them both. My father's lips parted, but no words came out. My mother's eyes shimmered. But it wasn't guilt, it was rage. I turned to the guests, softening my tone. Family isn't about blood. It's about who stands by you, who lifts you up when you fall, who celebrates your victories without jealousy. For years, I didn't have that in this house. But I found it elsewhere with friends, with mentors, with the man waiting for me at the end of this aisle. I glanced at my fiancé. His eyes glistened, his smile wide and unshaken. He looked at me like I was the only person in the world. And maybe in that moment, I was. I inhaled deeply, then said the words that had burned inside me for years. They tried to erase me, but tonight I made sure the world will never forget me. The hall erupted into cheers, louder than before. Guests stood, clapping, whistling, some even shouting my name. The noise wrapped around me like a crown. And in that moment, I saw it the look on my parents' faces. For once, they weren't smug, they weren't laughing, they weren't dismissing. Me, they were pale, truly, utterly pale, as if they'd seen a ghost, because in a way they had. They'd buried the daughter they thought they could control. And now she had returned not as their victim, but as their reckoning. The rest of the evening blurred in a storm of celebration. My sister never returned to the hall. My parents slipped out quietly, their heads bowed, whispers chasing them into the night. But I stayed. I danced. I laughed. I looked every guest in the eye and let them see me, not the forgotten daughter. Not the shadow, but the woman who had finally claimed her place. When the night ended, I stepped outside into the cool air, my plaque of ownership for the venue tucked under my arm. My fiancé's hand warm in mine. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. I smiled. For the first time in my life, yes. He kissed my forehead, and together we walked away from the hall not as victims of my family's cruelty, but as proof that no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't take my future, She wanted to steal my wedding dress. Instead, I stole back my dignity, my future, and the spotlight. They spent their lives trying to erase me. But in the end, I was the only one the world remembered. They left the hall in silence, and I left in power. If this story shocked you, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe to Toxic Bloodlines for more unbelievable stories of betrayal, family secrets, and revenge you'll never forget. Until next time, stay strong.